Welcome, Mike, and anybody else who will join us later. We are reading The Death of the Moth by Virginia Woolf, V. Wolf, as I like to call her. Like, what's up, V? Um, that's what I would say.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes. So I wanted to read, this is nonfiction. Usually we talk about fiction, but tonight we're talking about nonfiction. And I think it's a little bit easier to understand the big slowdown, I think, with nonfiction. And so I wanted to, I think for my own purposes, because I write so fast and I really love writing short, that kind of Ernest Hemingway style. And I think there's a large feminine sensibility that goes along with writing long and writing stream of consciousness. And Virginia Woolf is like pretty great about that. Um, and I sometimes, okay, can we be honest right now?
Always.
Sometimes I get a little bored with Virginia Woolf.
I told you earlier today, and this is the first time I've read through entirely a Virginia Woolf piece.
Hmm.
And it was hard at first. I was like, okay. I even actually had a little exercise on the side where I was like, if I were to just cut out the nonsense in this, not nonsense, that's probably a too cruel of a word. Um, it would be like 60% of it. Like, just get to the point.
Just get to the point. And so it's kind of like a really interesting thing, like our own patience. And I think it's also an older piece, right? So writing short is very much a contemporary thing. And not that Virginia Woolf is that much older than us, but
Yeah.
she's, it's older to the point where like long paragraphs, long sentences were still a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but that kind of deep intellectual work, I push back against a little bit as a reader. But when I allow myself to just slow down a minute, it becomes a little more meditative.
Yeah.
But it is something I really have to like force myself into, which I think is kind of an interesting. It's just like if we're practicing mindfulness, it's kind of like just the observation of the experience of reading it.
I've found that if I read it out loud, I'm more likely to give it the time and attention that it needs. If I try to read it in my head, I'll just like end up skipping over things because I read way faster in my head. But if I actually like read it with intention and like you're saying, like slow down and force myself to, and then you get like lost into it because there's so much beautiful language and imagery in it that it's easy to. But yeah, you have to force yourself to do that.
Right. So I just want to say it all out loud because as we read these things, like sometimes I feel like when I take classes on literature that somebody will bring up a piece of literature and everybody will be like, "Oh, it's so great. I love it." And I just like sometimes I just push back against that. Like James Joyce, like it's not fun for me.
Hmm.
And not that it has to be fun for us, but like you want to and it's fun for some of us. Like I bet our friend Paul would love
I
it.
was just gonna say that.
He loves James Joyce, right? He's so into it. He could deconstruct it all day.
Hmm.
Um, but like it's okay to recognize that something is deep and intellectual and then still have it not be your thing,
Yeah,
right? I just want to
there's
say
an
that out loud
audience for
because
everything. Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like literature gets this stain,
Well, and it's
it's
like,
where it's like
especially
better
like
than like I
in
know art.
communities. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, you must not get it then.
Hmm.
Anyway, let's prove that we get it.
Yeah, you
And
totally get it.
let's be open to it. And I think I'm glad that you're here because when we read it together, um, I think it'll be easier to get into it because I have a buddy system.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So let's read The Death of the Moth. This is about, I think it's maybe 600 or 700 words. It's not super long. One, two, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs. This is shorty, but it's gonna feel long because it's Virginia Woolf. It's dense. Okay. The Death of the Moth by Virginia Woolf. You wanna go paragraph by paragraph? You'll
Yeah,
take one
that's
next
good.
one? Okay. Moths that fly by day are not properly to be called moths. They do not excite that pleasant sense of dark autumn nights and ivy blossom, which the commonest yellow underwing, asleep in the shadow of the curtain, never fails to rouse in us. They are hybrid creatures, neither gay like butterflies nor somber like their own species. Nevertheless, the present specimen, with his narrow hay-colored wings, fringed with a tassel of the same color, seemed to be content with life. It was a pleasant morning, mid-September, mild, benignant, yet with a keener breath than that of the summer months. The plow was already scoring the field opposite the window, and where the share had been, the earth was pressed flat and gleamed with moisture. Such vigor came rolling in from the fields and the down beyond that it was difficult to keep the eye strictly turned upon the book. The rooks, too, were keeping one of their annual festivities, soaring round the treetops until it looked as if a vast net with thousands of black knots in it had been cast up into the air, which after a few moments sank slowly down upon the trees until every twig seemed to have a knot at the end of it. Then suddenly, the net would be thrown into the air again in a wider circle this time, with the utmost clamor and vociferation, as though to be thrown into the air and settle slowly down upon the treetops were a tremendously exciting experience.
The same energy which inspired the rooks, the plowmen, the horses, and even, it seemed, the lean bare-back downs, sent the moth fluttering from side to side of his square of the window pane. One could not help watching him. One was, indeed, conscious of a queer feeling of pity for him. The possibilities of pleasure seemed that morning so enormous and so various that to have only a moth's part in life, and a day moth's at that, appeared a hard fate, and his zest in enjoying his meager opportunities to the full pathetic. He flew vigorously to one corner of his compartment, and, after waiting there a second, flew across to the other. What remained for him but to fly to a third corner, and then to a fourth? That was all he could do, in spite of the size of the downs, the width of the sky, the far-off smoke of houses, and the romantic voice, now and then, of a steamer out at sea. What he could do, he did. Watching him, it seemed as if every fiber, very thin but pure, of the enormous energy of the world had been thrust into his frail and diminutive body. As often as he crossed the pane, I could fancy that a thread of vital light became visible. He was little or nothing but life.
Yet, because he was so small and so simple a form of energy that was rolling in at the open window and driving its way through so many narrow and intricate corridors in my own brain and in those of other human beings, there was something marvelous as well as pathetic about him. It was it was if someone had taken a tiny bead of pure life and decking it as lightly as possible with down and feathers, had set it dancing and zigzagging to show us the true nature of life. Thus displayed, one could not get over the strangeness of it. One is apt to forget all about life, seeing it humped and bossed and garnished and cumbered so that it has to move with the greatest circumspection and dignity. Again, the thought of all that life might have been, had he been born in any other shape caused one to view his simple activities with a kind of pity.
After a time, tired by his dancing apparently, he settled on the window ledge in the sun, and, the queer spectacle being at an end, I forgot about him. Then, looking up, my eye was caught by him. He was trying to resume his dancing, but seemed either so stiff or so awkward that he could only flutter to the bottom of the window pane, and when he tried to fly across it, he failed. Being intent on other matters, I watched these futile attempts for a time without thinking, unconsciously waiting for him to resume his flight, as one waits for a machine that has stopped momentarily to start again without considering the reason of its failure. After perhaps a seventh attempt, he slipped from the wooden ledge and fell, fluttering his wings, onto his back on the window sill. The helplessness of his attitude aroused me. It flashed upon me that he was in difficulties. He could no longer raise himself. His legs struggled vainly. But as I stretched out a pencil, meaning to help him to right himself, it came over me that the failure and awkwardness were the approach of death. I laid the pencil down again.
The legs agitated themselves once more. I looked as if for the enemy against which he struggled. I looked out of doors. What had happened there? Presumably, it was midday, and the work in the fields had stopped. Stillness and quiet had replaced the previous animation. The birds had taken themselves off to feed in the brooks. The horses stood still, yet the power was there all the same. Massed outside, indifferent, impersonal, not attending to anything in particular. Somehow it was opposed to the little hay-colored moth. It was useless to try to do anything. One could only watch the extraordinary efforts made by those tiny legs against an oncoming doom which could, had it chosen, have submerged an entire city, not merely a city, but masses of human beings. Nothing, I knew, had a chance against death. Nevertheless, after a pause of exhaustion, the legs fluttered again. It was it was superb, this last protest, and so frantic that he succeeded at last in righting himself. One's sympathies, of course, were all on the side of life. Also, when there was nobody to care or to know, this gigantic effort on the part of an insignificant little moth against a power of such magnitude, to retain what no one else valued or desired to keep, moved one strangely. Again, somehow, one saw life, a pure bead. I lifted the pencil again, useless though I knew it to be, but even as I did so, the unmistakable tokens of death showed themselves. The body relaxed, and it instantly grew stiff. The struggle was over. The insignificant little creature now knew death. As I looked at the dead moth, this minute wayside triumph of so great a force over so mean and astonished an antagonist filled me with wonder. Just as life had been strange a few minutes before, so death now was as strange. The moth, having righted himself, now lay most decently and uncomplainingly composed. Oh, yes, he seemed to say, death is stronger than I am. Oh, yeah. How was reading that?
Yeah, it's so um like the sentence structure itself forces you to slow down, right? Because there's so many layers and in betweens within a single sentence. And if you read it the wrong way, even slightly, it completely changes the sentence. And then you have to go back.
Right, we've
'Cause-
got clauses upon clauses.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It's dense. But I love it. Like it's so funny because yeah, I can easily get frustrated by this kind of writing, but it's also like my favorite kind of writing to write, to just like get lost in some narrow micro fiction. I don't
Well, right, I
know.
mean, like, you think about the mindfulness of it, right? That
Yeah.
she's blowing up one teeny, teeny, tiny moment
Mhm.
and letting that kind of fill her
Mhm.
with wonder and awe. I mean, right? I mean, at this point, how hard is it to find awe, right? But she's, like, specifically choosing it here, which I think is pretty powerful. Um and she's elevating this life of the moth. Really, I mean, the whole story is about its life in many ways, even though it's
Yeah.
the death of the moth.
Well, and it's an excellent exercise for Flash too because she is taking one moment, one window pane, one life, and it's all just like it's so focused in and narrowed, and like you're saying, it's just one thing that she's given all of her focus and attention to. And that's what you need to do. You need to like cut out a piece of existence and you need to tune into it.
And she committed to her piece,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Like, she
100%.
she totally committed to it. We just it's hard to do, it's hard to go all
Yeah.
in, right? So
And without
I
something repetitive too, which like she repeats a lot of stuff, but it never feels excessive. Like it all feels very necessary. Like how many times can you say that you pity and that something is pathetic and something is insignificant without it getting redundant? But like it's really drilling in an idea.
so I was wondering, can I put you on the spot? Normally, we could put Bill on the spot, but he's not
Yeah.
here.
Freaking Bill. He did this
Freaking
on
Bill.
purpose.
I
Yes.
know, right? So, so the question is, right, when we identify parts of a flash,
Mhm.
right, is there a moment, like a hinge? If we're
Mhm.
talking about flash fiction, in flash fiction, right, the hinge is like the volta, the place where it begins to turn. It's not where it flashes, but all of a sudden you're like, this story was going one way and now it's going another.
It's a hinge.
The hinge, right?
Yes.
Did you think about at all like what the hinge might be?
I think it's when she says at the end of the fourth paragraph, but as I stretched out a pencil, meaning to help him to write himself, it came over me that the failure and awkwardness were the approach of death. That's where I saw it.
Okay. Because I was thinking it was like a whole paragraph.
Earlier? Or, oh, a whole paragraph itself. Was it that one?
Well, right. So, yet, because he was so small. Um, and then it ended with a kind of pity. Like she was like kind of pitying the moth right there. So there was a slight turn there. Um, but then after a time, tired by his dancing, apparently, he settled on the window ledge. And then by the end of it is what you point out. I'd laid
Yeah.
the pen down again. But I think that whole paragraph right there was so fascinating because he tries to fly across it, but he fails. And then he has
It's the
these,
start of his decline.
yeah, I
Yeah.
watched these futile attempts. Um, where's the what my favorite line? Because she's like amused, she's somewhat amused by this struggle
Mhm.
for for quite a while. Um,
Well, and you're right because it's up until that point, it is pity and it is pathetic, and then after that point, it becomes less about the moth and more about us. We are the moth.
we are the moth.
The moth represents us.
Where's the one where he like, nevertheless, it was a superb this last protest.
She loves the word nevertheless.
And so, nevertheless, and so frantic that he succeeded at last in righting himself. One's sympathies, of course, were all on the side of life.
I had to reread that line several times. I was like, "What?"
And she's kind of like, I mean, I was thinking, what do you think? I was thinking that the tone, what's the tone of this? She's rather distant. It's distant and observational.
I've gone back and forth on it because I feel like she has this air about her where she's pitying this tiny creature, right? This lesser than creature. But then at some point it feels like she's not just pitying the moth, she's pitying mankind. She's pitying everything that is destined for death, including herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell if it's like a somber tone, or if it's like a higher than, a mightier than tone. I feel like it shifts.
Mm.
Mm. But I think definitely by the end, it's like a pitying all, or at least, or maybe like having a strange comfort with it. I don't know.
Strange
What do you
color.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it in many ways, it changes tone. Like, it is very observational, but then the things that she correlates it to begin to y all of a sudden, it becomes about life,
Yeah.
all life, not just the moth's life. Um, and kind of the battle against these, like, inevitable forces, which are so easy to see in the moth and maybe not so easy to see ourselves.
Exactly.
Um, so it's like, does it end I was thinking, like, I was trying to, like, what's the word? What does it end on? Like, it starts, like, kind of playful and then it ends, I don't know, like, would you say it ends in kind of a I would maybe say somber, sorrow and awe at the same time.
Yeah.
Grief, grief, that's the word. Sorrow and awe. Sorrow plus awe equals grief, you think?
Yes.
Does it math out?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Beep boop beep boop boop.
Yeah, there's some kind of reverence, sorrow and reverence all at the same time.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot. Sorrow plus awe equals grief.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna write
Um,
that down and quote you.
is that
Um,
like is that like girl math? Like Venmo math?
that's our that's our lit math.
Lit math.
We
Um,
should just have a whole series of lit math. Um, I also noticed in response to your question of beginning to end, that we start, as much of it as it's like one moment, we do start like very far out, right? Because we're seeing the entire field and we're seeing the sky and we're seeing everything that is this grandiose. And then as we go, we funnel in, we narrow in, and then at the end we're just focused on, like, in fact, in that beginning, there's a lot of movement, right?
yeah.
Everything's moving. The fields are being plowed. The sky is alive. There are birds flying everywhere. There's a ebb and flow that's constant. And then we tune into the moth, and the moth is moving too, but it starts to slow down. And then by the very end, it's stillness, the most still you could possibly be because it is void of life.
Mhm.
It's almost like reverse tension. Maybe
Death
tension is the wrong word. Momentum,
is
reverse momentum.
yeah, I mean, like death itself, right? Oh, yes, he seemed to say, "Death is stronger than I am." I mean, it
Such a
just kind of
great last line.
right? The body relaxed and instantly grew stiff. Yeah.
I really like that contrast of relaxed and stiff within the same sentence,
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's funny.
but it's accurate.
But it's accurate.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. You know, I was also thinking about, the difference because we talk a lot about fiction flash, and I was thinking about the differences between nonfiction flash and why it would be important as a writer to be thinking about these things. And so, like, nonfiction is, of course, like, real life. It's grounded very much in real life and true events.
Mhm.
Um, and then in nonfiction, one gets to creatively distort them,
Mhm.
but they're still real,
Yes.
right? It's not a dragon that's like a human. It can be a human that's like a dragon, but it can't be a dragon that's like a human, right? You
Mhm.
can't go back the other way. So it always
Mhm.
has like that same kind of trajectory. Um, And I think that there's often in creative nonfiction like this, I think there's often an I or an implied I,
Interesting.
right? So that there is very much that personal perspective on it. We're talking about Flash.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, narrative, right? Narrative nonfiction.
yeah.
The I is often present, whereas in regular fiction, like the I may or may not be present, right? Because you can be a god, you can be um, the chair, you
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
right?
You can be the dragon,
You can be the dragon.
sitting in the
Um,
chair and
yeah,
hearing both of their perspectives.
right. Um, and so then the Flash. So in addition to the I, there's also like real personal exposure,
Yeah.
right? That you're sharing a piece of your life, a piece of your existence,
Mhm.
true, modified or not, but it's based in truth.
Yeah.
Um, and I only say that just because we work so much in fiction that it's a little bit like almost like watercolors when I go back to nonfiction. It's like you have to kind of reverse something.
Yeah.
Um, going from like oils. You've painted enough to go from oils to watercolor. It's like this whole reverse. It's like a negative versus a positive in some
Yeah.
ways. Um, okay, so it's 8:27. We've been chatting a lot. Would you like to write with me,
I
Leah?
would love to write with you.
Okay. I have a prompt. Let me find the prompt. And let me go back in my notes.
I feel like
It's a
that's such a it's such a simple little thing you just said, but it's so profound that it's typically first person in creative nonfiction. That's not a biography, right? Just that like struck me. I'm very like, whoa.
right? I mean, it's so
Yeah.
obvious, but at the same time, I was like, oh yeah, of course, right? Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 25 minutes of writing
Cool.
left before we check in. So we're going to do this in three parts.
Perfect.
Um, the first one will be like a brainstorm session. I'm calling this the death of something small. Something small is you get to decide. So I'll give you some examples to maybe get your brain going. So it could be something just in your house right now, a wilting houseplant. I have I have a hibiscus that may or may not make it through this February.
Okay.
Um, a buzzing fly. I have like, do you have those stink bugs
No.
that come into your house?
No.
Or like or it's like this other bug called like a corporal bug, or it has some kind of army name. I forget. Anyway, they just kind of walk around the house really slow in the winter. Um, like your iPhone battery. I know that shit's dying. Um,
Yep.
a melting ice cube. I mean, we're getting small and really specific, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, how could I blow something this small up? A forgotten, um, a post-it note on the refrigerator. It keeps falling down. The magnet that doesn't quite magnet the way it's supposed to. I don't know. These are just ideas that I was trying to come up with that were like things
Like
that are on at the end. Um, so let's take 5 minutes and maybe make a list of as many of these potential things that are fighting for their existence in your house. Just brainstorm 5 minutes and then we'll come back. You ready?
okay. Yes, I put it in the chat.
Okay, starting now. All right, Leah, how did you do?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Oh, you got a lot.
Yeah.
You got a lot of things right at the end of their lives.
Mhm.
Do you have anything you want to share?
Um, I will say there was a succulent that I've been weirdly keeping alive for like a few months now. And
Mhm.
then I looked at it and I was like, "You're kind of sad looking. I'm going to give you a little water." And then it died 3 days later. So that was one. I was like, seriously? I paid attention to you and you like, it like turned black. It shriveled up. I was like, I don't understand these things. I give up.
It was ready.
It was ready. I just had to try to be nice to nudge it
Hmm.
to the end. Um, the fan in the bathroom, you know? Um, I also said the flame of a candle that was left
Mm.
on, left burning, and then I got a little, I don't know if you would call it meta, um, but, like, the energy, the fun in the house, as it starts to dwindle.
Hmm.
Yeah, those were some of my favorites.
Oh yeah, those were good. Um, I felt like there were a few that had legs for me. One was, Poe just got the remote control for the television,
Oh, no.
and we just have one, and, like, then you have to get up and change the volume
Mhm.
or the channel.
Find it.
Right.
Where is it again?
Anyway, so you have to, like, shake it. Anyway, so the remote control is one. I was thinking about the leftovers in the refrigerator. Like,
Right.
is anybody gonna eat them? They're
No,
just sitting there. Just it's pure potential and pure waste
that's
and
great.
pure nourishment. Um, and then I like your candle. I'm thinking about your candle flame, though. I had a bunch that were, like, kind of cracking me up, but those 2, like, I felt like had some wheels.
I like the leftovers because I feel like, um, there are there are different levels of impending doom.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you eat the leftovers when you shouldn't.
Mhm, exactly, like, the nutrition is also dying. The, uh, the flavor is also dying. The
Right.
the potential for it to be edible in any regard is withering away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alright. So, we're gonna do this next one will be short also, like, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Pick some that actually make you feel something, like, maybe a little bit of a pang. So, like, either amusement or ache, like that candle flame, like, there's a little ache in that, right? When the light goes out. I can see that, and so, um so think about why it's amusement or ache when you think about that image being at the end of its existence, and just maybe write down 2 or 3 sentences about why it hits you. Like, don't worry about polish, just give it a go. You ready? How long do you want? You want 4 minutes for that? 3 minutes for that? How long?
4.
4. Okay, we'll see you in 4 minutes. You doing okay? Do you want
Yeah.
a little more time?
No, I think I'm good.
You're good.
Mhm.
How did that go? Was that pretty easy to get going on?
Yeah, I started with the bathroom fan, and that one was surprisingly easy, and then I moved to the candle flame, and I thought it was gonna be easier, and it wasn't, but then I started, like, rolling with it, and, I started getting more literal, I think, like warmth and smell and, like, what the candle provides
Mhm.
and why it would be sad to see that go.
Mm.
So the dog wouldn't stop barking, so I had to get up and walk away for a
I
second.
know. I was like, "Jack." Is that Jack or
No,
Gus?
it was Gus, he was being a nightmare.
Gus. Um, okay. So now with this next part, I want you to zoom in on your thing the way V Wolf does with the moth. Like, go right in and write a paragraph, see if you can get 150 or 250 words, just observing it in real time. Just make an just you're just observing it. This is like your can you say it?
Ekphrastic.
Thanks. You just said it like so easy. Ekphrastic. Um, I think it's easier to say than it looks.
It's a weird word. Also, there's, like, 4 different ways you could write it. See, like, when it's ekphrasis,
That's the
that
word.
one's weird. Ekph Yeah, ekphrastic makes sense to my mouth. Ekphrasis does not. Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. So anyway, so this part is about observation. So there's that moment when she's just watching the moth,
Mhm.
and she's thinking about it maybe in relation to the window, in relation to its, like, immediate environment, maybe even observing the details of the moth itself. I think she has a bit about its fur, um,
The
and then
hay
it's just
colored, the
yeah,
slightly different hay colored. Yeah,
and then it's daytime. So let's take a minute to get really specific about one of the 2 things that we've chosen,
cool.
okay? And it's 8:44. Let's let's take 4 minutes,
'Kay,
see how far you can get,
sounds good.
okay? Okay, I'm gonna interrupt now.
Yes.
So you've probably come to a point where you're ready to make some revelations,
Mhm.
right? So you've been moving. Like, so I'm moving from the outside of the container where it's like condensing on the top of my leftovers. Of course, I started writing about the death of my leftovers,
You have to. Yeah.
right? And I'm thinking about the leftovers and I'm thinking about the water that's coming in and that will ultimately drip back onto the leftovers,
So
right?
gross. Yeah.
Gross. It's so gross, right? So it's like we're getting really specific,
Uh-huh.
right? Into this particular thing. And I'm thinking about the yogurt next to it, how the yogurt gets all weepy, that water,
Mhm.
right? So now it's like we're ready to like make a revelation. It's like I kept
Mhm.
trying to fight. I don't know. Did you have this experience where you were like fighting a metaphor ever?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was even thinking about the ekphrastic that I just like that post that I just wrote where I'm trying to just observe and not make meaning out of any of the observations. And yeah, I kept having to I started going to like a memory of a grandmother and a kitchen and I was like, "Wait, wait, wait, no, 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 pull back, pull back, pull back. Let's just tune in."
Stick with the observation.
Yes, to the
Yeah.
wax, to the wick, to the glass. Let's just yeah,
All right.
definitely.
So I say now, like, let yourself go. You've got a paragraph or so of just pure observation. So where does the observation take you?
Okay.
Um, where do my weepy leftovers? Where do my weepy leftovers take
The
me?
stomach ache. Weepy leftovers. That should be the title.
Nobody would read it.
Everyone read it. We all relate.
um, All right. So let's just take maybe another 5 minutes and actually kind of get into this, maybe get into metaphor. I mean, because now's the opportunity for metaphor, for memory. Like, what else is there an opportunity for now that we've made the observation? Some action, some decision. Is there a decision that gets made? Is there what are the signals of death
Mhm.
with this particular thing, right? Because something's dying. My leftovers are dying. Your fan, are you still working on your fan?
Now I'm doing the candle flame.
The candle flame. So the it will eventually gutter and
Mhm.
go out. And what happens then? Right? So like we're moving towards that.
Interesting. Okay, okay,
Okay. Let's take another 5 minutes and see how far we get.
cool.
Okay. All right, Leah. Why don't you come on back? Did you get anything? I saw you smiling at one point. Did you get anything that cracked you up?
No, it's all somber.
Very
Uh,
somber. Anything that made you cry?
no, it's just, um, it's like the contrast is from light to dark, right? So it's in the darkness that envelops you. It's the end of something. It's um sleep is calling. Sleep is all that remains. That kind of thing.
Ooh.
It
Did you have
wasn't like it wasn't sad. It was just the absence of something, which I think is hard to avoid in this situation.
Mhm. Did you have any lines that you were like, "Ooh, that's a good line"?
Um, Only sleep can speak to us now.
"Only sleep can speak to us now"?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's probably it. The rest of it, what I'm noticing is while I really want to be able to have these long-winded sentences like Wolf, everything is very choppy still. But I think that's something, and I was gonna ask you what you thought if she just like wrote like that in stream of consciousness basically, or if it's something that you write and then you go back in and you flesh them out. I mean, I feel like that's just how I write, but
I think she writes like that.
yeah,
I imagine she talks like that too.
yeah,
It's a wandering kind of tone. My aunt talks like that,
yeah.
um, or maybe thinks like that.
Exactly. It's a stream of consciousness. It's just coming out,
It's just coming out, right?
stopping it.
And she's just putting those commas between her thoughts
Exactly.
instead of periods, instead of line breaks. She's just keeping it all together. Like when we were reading, there was like that density of those paragraphs
Mhm.
and those sentences we were reading where you couldn't come out, you didn't have enough air in your lungs to finish the sentence.
Yeah, and half the time you couldn't tell if it was supposed to be the end of a thought or if it was just a thought that kept going.
Right. I was like, "Am I playing a didgeridoo right now?" I was like,
Yeah.
"I can't breathe and play at the same time."
Oh, only the best one. Only the most skilled.
Only the most skilled. Mine was gross. I had a line, "No tinge of decay, that sweet smell of decomposition in my nose." Um, Talking about day 5, leftovers on day 5, right? ServSafe says they're good with temperature control for 7 days. Oh, but 7 days.
Unless there is a smell or it is slimy.
Right. Yes. Like, that's
Always
so
the
not
answer.
specific.
Always, how long will X, Y, and Z keep? Well, it can keep much longer unless.
Right? Um, so anyway, this was a big slowdown, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. This was a good practice for me, and I noticed, like, I started to build stakes already. Did you find stakes in yours with the candle going out or with the flame going out?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like that's where I was just getting to. I feel like I kept in the beginning of like that last exercise, I kept going with the observation instead of really getting into it. But now I'm like, okay, the candle's out. Like, what's happening? What's happening now?
Mhm.
And then maybe I can go back and kind of splice that in so that there are stakes earlier and it's not just like this happened.
Right.
Because
It's
like, yeah, with the food, it's like, okay, well we know that if it's bad, if we keep putting it off, we're gonna get sick, right? But like, yeah, what happens when a candle goes out? And is this the only candle? Is there perpetual darkness? Like, there's so many things that, yeah, I could probably bring the stakes up higher.
yeah. Well, it was just you know what I saw today? I saw a video, and then we're gonna sign off, but I saw a video about somebody having a little tea candle and
Mhm,
a black contractor bag, a trash bag,
mhm.
that you can actually heat yourself in the winter if you're stuck
Exactly.
with a teeny tiny tea light. And the video was like it was like one of these survival videos. I don't know
Yeah.
why watching it. Like, why do we watch anything when we're right?
Uh-huh.
But I was like, "Oh, that's fascinating." He's like, "And you put some hay down." And I was like, "Wait, where do you get the hay?"
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "I can understand, like, traveling with a lighter and a little
In a
candle and a
cage.
trash
Yeah,
bag,
yeah,
but, like, um, just let me just find some hay so I don't have to sit on the snow." Well, but there's snow
yeah. Why is there
over
hay?
everything, right? Lake Tahoe, Leah, how much snow like, can you get to the ground where you are? That's just a giant snowbank.
Yep. I'm like, just
You're like, "I
I'm
can't even
like,
get to
the
my
neighbor's
car."
roof is gonna collapse. I just before this, we watched our neighbor up on the roof jump into a snow, like, bank in his front yard.
Mhm.
That's how much snow we have right now. He was like, "Wee!" I was like, "That man just fell off the roof." Wait, no, attention.
He's just jumping off the roof into the snowbank. I love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
no way.
Well, Leah and let's see, Mike and Jeremy and hey, Jeremy. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us tonight. We hope maybe you got a little writing done. We hope you enjoyed the slowdown to take a look at a kind of a micro moment to explore what it's like to slow down, to slow the rhythm. It's like slowing the heart rate of a story down. Um, Fiction or nonfiction translates to both. So, Leah, thanks for doing this with me, and
Yeah, thank you.
hopefully Bill will be back from vacation next week.
Better be.
Yeah.
Um, Before we sign off, I also realized that you can do nonfiction slash creatively through second person point of view.
Yes. But
I started doing that.
in second person, there's an implied first person. Right. Right. So it's like epistolary. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like to you. It doesn't have to be epistolary, but yeah, to the second person to you. Okay. Candles to you, my friend.
Don't eat the leftovers, just throw them away. I love you.
I love you. Good night, everyone.